Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Ellen here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 6 of What If Saitama Was in MHA. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. It was the students' first day back at school after the incident at the USJ, and they were shocked to hear what their teacher had to say. You have 2 weeks to prepare for the UA Sports Festival. Aizawa explained that the school had to show the public that even after a dangerous situation, the school and students would stay strong and resume things as normal. The doors to the classroom burst open as a bald man stumbled into the room, arms filled with piles of paper. As the man placed the papers on a table, his face became visible to the class. "Saitama? What are you doing here again?" Midoriya exclaimed. Saitama gave the class a wave as he said, "I have to do community service here to make up for the property damage I caused, or else I'll go to jail." Aizawa cleared his throat to cut off Saitama as he rephrased the bald man's words. What Saitama meant to say was that he is now my teaching assistant, so you'll be seeing him around campus every day now. Go to him if you need anything, and I'm not around. The events of the USJ still shook the students. Seeing Saitama's unhinged power had them hesitant to trust him. Sure, he had saved them, but in the process he caused many of the students to get injured in the USJ's collapse. The class gave a courteous welcome to the man, and so, training for the sports festival began. For Midoriya, the 2 weeks of training flew by in a flash. He'd spent almost all of his free time exercising and meditating, and nothing special particularly happened to him. Saitama, on the other hand, had an eventful encounter within these 2 weeks that changed the course his life would lead. Saitama was aimlessly monitoring the halls of the UA campus for any students skipping class or for any safety hazards. It was just more busy work that Aizawa would often dump on Saitama if the eraser hero didn't feel like doing it. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but Saitama couldn't just not do it, lest he wanted to be incarcerated. The bald man yawned loudly as he turned a corner, and he suddenly was grabbed and pulled into a dark room. Saitama sensed no danger, but was extremely confused. Suddenly, the lights flicked on, and a large blonde man was standing right in front of him. "Huh?" Saitama muttered as the muscular figure gave him a strong American salute.
"Saitama, I've been trying to find a moment to meet with you. I'm sorry for sneaking up on you, but no one must see us together."
Saitama was staring blankly at All Might, waiting for the man to continue. He had barely met him during his orientation day, so he had no idea why the man would want to meet with him. All Might sat down, and Saitama sat opposite of him. The number 1 hero took a moment to think, trying to find the right words to say.
"You're young Midoriya's mentor, correct?"
All Might started, opting to gather information about the bald man before committing to his plan. Saitama affirmed and began growing suspicious. He assumed that the hero might grill him about the secret to his power or something. To his surprise, All Might didn't do that at all.
"I saw the kid during the entrance exam. You did a really good job training him."
All Might gave a small chuckle before continuing.
"When I saw his selfless heroism, I thought he might be the one who would—"
He paused and didn't finish his sentence. All Might sighed impatiently as he realized that he was fluffing up the conversation for too long. The hero felt a familiar feeling growing in his stomach, a twisting pain that threatened to make him cough up blood. His time was running out.
"The reason I called you here today is that I want you to join a top-secret group of heroes."
Saitama started spacing out halfway through the conversation, but when All Might said those words, he was brought back to reality. "What? Why?" Saitama questioned.
"I originally was quirkless, too,"
All Might admitted, making Saitama's eyes widen. In a puff of smoke, All Might deflated into a civilian form, and Saitama simply stared with his neutral dunce face. "The quirk that I have is called One for All. It's a power stockpiling quirk that grows in strength each time it's passed on. There's a villain called All for One who can steal quirks, and he's been hunting this quirk for almost 100 years. A select group of top heroes has been selected to take down All for One when the time comes, and I want you to join that group." All Might paused to allow Saitama to process what he was told. There was a lot more context missing, but he got the general gist of it. "So you want me to join this group of heroes because you think I'd be able to help take down this All for One guy?" "Precisely. After seeing the strength you possess at the USJ, I knew that you had the power to bring All for One down. You don't have to agree, but I do wish you keep this conversation a secret." Saitama clenched his fist and smiled. "Yeah, I'll join. I have nothing better to do." The next day, Saitama found himself in a meeting room that was guarded by high security. After various security screenings, he entered a meeting room filled with various top S-Class heroes. He saw Endeavor sitting with his arms crossed with Tornado floating beside him. He saw other top heroes like Silverfang, Mirko, Hawks, Edgeshot, Best Jeanist, and... "Huh? Genos, what are you doing here? Didn't you get your hero license last week?" Genos replied enthusiastically,
"Mentor, I passed with such high scores I was placed into S-Class right out of the gate."
Saitama took a seat next to Genos and noted the empty seat across the table. It was for the number 2 hero, Blast, but it appeared that he didn't arrive. Saitama heard that there were rumors that he wouldn't show his face unless the world was truly in danger. With him absent, the team that was assembled were 9 heroes, including Saitama. The heroes looked at Saitama with suspicion and curiosity as they easily sensed that he was an outlier from their group. Their attention was brought forth to a skeletal man entering the room, All Might. With his arrival, the meeting began.
I have determined all of you to be worthy of knowing about my secret because time is running out. After a recent meeting with Sir Night-Eye, we discovered that a tragedy is approaching within the next 6 months. His quirk, Foresight, allows him to see the entire future of one person for 1 hour. For the past week, all 7 people he'd used his quirk on had met death in exactly 6 months, with the same scenario going on in the background. Hordes of dragon-level villains that are currently detained in Tartarus, causing terror out in the streets.
Why don't we just secure the prisons, then?
Endeavor intervened. That's not how Future Vision works, idiot! Tornado huffed. Mirko smiled. We'll just beat their asses like usual. If we could do that, then we wouldn't have been assembled, Genus corrected. All Might cleared his throat to bring attention back up to him.
Ahem. As I was saying, I gathered you all here today because I have a plan to bring All for One down. From what Night-Eye told us, he has a successor in the form of Tomura Shigaraki, who will soon possess a second copy of All for One. What we need to do is... At that point, Saitama started to daydream about the dinner he would have that night. The meeting was going on for longer than he anticipated, and if he didn't leave soon, he would miss the sale going on at the grocery store. It was a going-out-of-business sale too, so all store items would be 50% off. Saitama started to tap his foot impatiently as he stared at the arms of the clock across from him. As the planning went on, Saitama only heard a couple of pieces here and there.
And that's where Saitama comes in,
All Might stated, continuing with his diagram. After the painstakingly long meeting, it finally came to an end. The rest of the 2 weeks were filled with various meetings and debriefings. Eventually, he found himself in front of a microphone in a spectator's box in between Aizawa and Present Mic. The voice hero had just told him to count down or something, so he turned on the mic and did what he was told.
3, 2, 1, go?
The sound of Saitama's voice signaled the start of UA High's Sports Festival's first event, an obstacle course. Midoriya was taken aback by the sound of his mentor's voice over the intercom, but he maintained his focus and jumped ahead of the crowd. A path of ice froze various students' feet to the ground, and Midoriya looked ahead to see Todoroki taking the lead. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. And with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in the description below. The freckled teen landed on the ground and took off with a force that shattered the ice beneath him. He flew past Todoroki and focused on the obstacles that waited ahead. After turning a corner, Midoriya felt a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. In front of him was a pathway filled with dozens of robots from the entrance exam. He could easily slip past them, but the teen couldn't help himself. The sports festival was designed to show off students' abilities to pro heroes, right? Midoriya was allowed to indulge in the opportunity. With a wide smile, Midoriya pulled his arm back and yelled, "Normal punch!" As he released his attack, an explosion of wind shot out from his fist like a cannon. The wind tore through the robots and parted them like Moses with the Red Sea. As Midoriya ran past the pathway he created, the wind created by his speed caused the robots to topple over, covering the path he had created. In an instant, all of the robot obstacles that UA had prepared were all taken out by a single student. The school knew to prepare for this after what they learned from Midoriya at the entrance exam, so they upped their game. Various drones of differing sizes flew above the desecrated corpses of robots as they shot lasers at the approaching students. Midoriya was already long gone, however, as he took a leap of faith over a large canyon that separated 2 sides of the obstacle course. He looked down at the depths below him. There were various land platforms and tightropes that students were meant to cross. Jumping over the distance of the entire gorge, however, was like a cakewalk. Well, in this instance, it was more like a cake hop. Midoriya laughed to himself at the joke. After landing, Midoriya's eyes landed on the next section. It was a minefield. Midoriya had 2 options. He could clear the section with a single jump, or he could outpace the mines and run across the whole thing. Midoriya smiled. Why not do both? With a push-off, Midoriya practically hovered over the mines with immense speed. He saw a mine in line in a perfect path in front of his foot, so he timed his next step carefully. Once the mine was directly underneath him, he slammed his foot down and an explosion propelled him faster than his top speed. He was moving so fast that he was practically flying above the ground. As the cheers of the audience and announcement from President Mike filled his ears, Midoriya looked up at the spectators box and made eye contact with Saitama. The bald mentor gave Midoriya a nod, and just like that, the first event of the sports festival was over. It took several more minutes for other students to start coming out of the tunnel, and soon the 42 finalist limit was reached. Without so much of a break, the next event was announced to the students. A cavalry battle. The rules were simple. Form a team with at most 4 people and steal headbands from other teams while protecting your own. Each headband had points, which go up in point value by increments of 5 based on the place the student got in the obstacle course. But the twist had Midoriya's stomach doing backflips. First place in the obstacle course had 10 million points assigned to them. Just as suddenly was he the center of attention, he was now being actively avoided. Unsurprisingly, no one wanted to team up with the rumored quirkless boy who destroys buildings on accident. In Midoriya's defense, it was Saitama who destroyed the USJ, but it's not like explaining that would change anything. Students from Class 1B stuck together, and a lot of students from 1A already formed groups of their own. There were some miscellaneous students left, however. Maybe Midoriya had some hope after all. Uraraka was the first to join Midoriya's team because she had complete confidence in his abilities. As they were searching for another team member, a young child approached them. He couldn't have been over 10 years old. "I'm joining your team," the kid stated outright. "What's with this sassy lost child?" Midoriya whispered to Uraraka, which the kid seemed to have heard as he whined. "Do you not know who I am? I'm Child Emperor, the youngest student to ever be accepted into UA? Genius first year who's already making waves in the support gear industry?" A shared moment of silence between Uraraka and Midoriya said all that the boy needed to hear. The boy sighed and opted to introduce himself in a more normal fashion. "My quirk is called Genius Intellect. I'm a first-year student from the support course, and I want to join your team to show off my inventions to prospectors." The boy suddenly elevated in height as several robot arms emerged from his backpack and operated like spider-like limbs. Several more robot arms emerged from the back wielding a chainsaw, blowtorch, taser, and various other sharp weapons. Midoriya and Uraraka urged the kid to put the weapons away as they got his point. The boy grinned confidently as he retracted the weapons back into his backpack. "You need me on your team. Plus, I need to show that girl Hatsume that my inventions are better than hers." The kid scowls in the direction of a girl with pink hair as she demonstrates her various gadgets to an unsure-looking student. "Okay, sure, you're on the team," Midoriya decided. The team, as it was currently, was completely well-rounded. With Uraraka's quirk, they would be able to stay in the air and out of reach. With Child Emperor's gadgets, they'd be able to maneuver, defend, attack, and steal headbands with ease. With Midoriya's speed and strength, they'd be able to escape and attack powerfully as well. Overall, the team was solid. He deliberated with his team members about a possible 4th member, but they decided against it. The 3 spent the rest of the team setup time creating their plan.
Oh, I start the announcement now? Oops, I'm unmuted.
Saitama's voice rang from the speakers, followed by harsh microphone feedback. After the ringing stopped, Saitama finally got his message out.
"It's time to start the cavalry battle."
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for new members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.